We have teams, several teams. So team leads send me end of day reports as far as what's been accomplished, the concerns, what's been done, client concerns. And I don't specifically look at the like time frame, how much time was spent. I look at what was the concern that came up and how it was addressed and whether it was handled. That's what I look at. I sometimes just on the go, but I usually, and at the end of the day, I spend about, I'm sorry, let me just go back. They used to send me out the start of the day report, what they're planning to do, and end of day report. So that way I was getting double of that.
Okay.
I'm not particularly interested in the start of the day because it's actually being handled by somebody else on the team to delegate the duties. I'm more interested at the end of the day reports. That way I know what's been accomplished. And if anything needs to be, when I read the report and I see something that stands out, something that needs to be addressed, I am writing emails and responding to those with my thoughts and suggestions or the directives. That's, yeah.
And I do something similar, Pavel, when I'm looking at this report that I get back. First of all, John, I messaged you in YouTube. We're going to put up the link there to this list as well, so you can have that too. It gives you ideas. So when I'm getting the morning reports and the evening reports, when I first had, let's just say, one virtual staff member, I was looking at the reports, right? I would look at them actively and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm glad they're focused on these priorities for the day. And at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, they did well here. They could do a little bit better over here. But as I grew, Pavel, there's no way that I could take a look at these reports daily.
Exactly.
Right? And so
you got to have the director of operations.
That's it. That's where I was heading to, man, because I'm going to go back to this chart so people can just understand where you're going to be heading. If you do want to grow like this, you don't have to. This is just the possibility, right? You have this executive admin now graduate into the director of operations, right? Which is what I also had with my real estate team locally. I hired an admin and she became my director of ops, and she works in-house, right? Out of Westlake Village, California, right? But then I also did the same thing with A Brilliant Tribe and Lab Code Agents. And both of those director of operations are outside of the country. And people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, they're not even in the US, and they run the operations for both of my multi-million-dollar companies.
Exactly. Yeah.
It all comes down to your ability to do two things. One, to hire well, and that's why I love Virtudesk, right? Hire well. And then to be able to train, set the expectations correctly, and communicate. And that all goes in one thing as the second thing. And people, I think, don't do that well enough, Pavel, on that second part. First, they don't hire well. I can go for me personally. I've gotten better. I was an absolutely terrible person to hire people. I'd be like,
me
Pavel,
too, bro. Me too. Trust me.
Oh, terrible. Pavel, I'd be like, man, Pavel, you're such a nice guy. I'm going to hire you.
Yeah.
That's what I would look for. And Janki jumped in there. Janki, what do you have to say on that?
Me too. Oh my goodness. Me too. Like, I'll hire people just like this, and I'll fire people like just like this. Totally opposite of what you're supposed to do. But hey, this time I stuck to my guns and actually kept my ISA for 1.5 years. And I'm so glad I did, because he's amazing. So anyway, I just say that.
This will take us a little bit into something further down the line. As you hire anybody, it doesn't even matter where they're located. The ability for you as the leader, as the person that's pushing this company, your company, right, forward as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to understand that mistakes will be made, right? Mistakes are going to be made, and it's your job to say, hey, empower these people, right? Empower them and be like, it's okay, you made a mistake. Trust me, I made a ton of mistakes myself.
Look,
right?
I built my team, it tore down, how many times have I fallen off the ledge and got back on, right? If you fall off and you don't get back on, shame on you, right? Continue the growth, continue the momentum. But this time I felt like, okay, this is not what I'm going to do. I have to take a different approach. And I sat with my director of operations. We discussed it. We took a different approach because everyone deserves chances. But more than anything, I think it's how we help empower someone, how we help as leaders, entrepreneurs. That is our job, to show them the core values, to help them understand who we are so they can follow the system through. By the way, hello, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm early or if I'm late.
You're a little early. You're fine. You're fine. You're a little early. We're wrapping up on Pavel's side, and I wanted to share my screen. Pavel, we're going to continue here on this 77 page or whatever you made here.
I got a long list, bro.
Yeah. I lost count of the pages, but right after this section here on the end of the day report, you go into marketing services, which is kind of part of that other flow chart that we created, that organizational chart. But this is where most people now are hiring. After executive admin, people are hiring for this position next. I would say this one and an ISA, an internal sales agent, or OSA, right? But now when it comes to marketing services, people are gravitating towards social media management, right? Is that what you guys are seeing?
Yeah.
Right, because that's when we look at let me show you the other graph too, and we're going to give these away too. But when we look at these graphs, these PDFs, and we look at marketing, right? First of all, the director of operations is doing all the marketing at the beginning. They're doing everything, right?
Yep.
And so now you hire a marketing manager, but then you look slightly into the future and you're like, well, what could this really become? Right. And I think that's the power, the ability to see that as you leverage, as you use talented people, as you use technology better, you can now start looking at, well, what are the possibilities? And my director of operations, I'm just going to share this with you because he just created this for me. And I think it just shows the power of the ability to leverage, right, to start looking more into the future of what we're going to be doing. He created this awesome piece, and I wanted to share it with you guys. He sent this to me last night. Here we go. So he says, look, and this is all on marketing, right? He says, we do a lot of webinars, Tristan, right? Why don't we start looking at now doing this? Saying here are your graphics and text where we can place them off of one webinar, right?
Yeah.
And your videos and graphics, what we can do is create segments from that one video, right? Let's break it down into 5 segments. Now put them on a Facebook, email with a landing page, LinkedIn, and break them down into Instagram for your feed, for your stories, IGTV, TikTok, more LinkedIn, right? And have them go to an actual landing page to start capturing more information. Now I start looking at this and saying, damn, we should have started this a long time ago, right? But again, we weren't at that place, right? And so that's why I share that with you, to say, look, this is where you can shoot to be, Pavel. And I know you and I are in those places. So let me go to one question here. We've got
a lot of people. It takes a lot of people and a lot of work. So but it has to be well coordinated work. But it's well worth it. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Raymond's saying, can you please email out that checklist and info package that you were going over earlier? I think it's that 66-page document.
Yes.
How's that going to work? Is that going to be sent out?
Gab, would you please send a message or email it to Raymond? I'm sure Gab is here right now on the call. It'll be taken care of Raymond. Yeah.
All right, perfect. And then if you guys want to dump it into the YouTube as well. So Pavel, we're like a minute away from closing out. Thank you for doing that. Anything you want to add here in closing?
Well, when people think when is it a good time to hire somebody, I'll tell you what. When you're ready to grow, when you're actually ready to, to take your business to the next level, that's when you need to start hiring. Not when a lot of people think, oh, I need to make some certain amount of money, dollar amount, to start hiring somebody to justify the overhead. I can definitely appreciate that. I can relate to that because I used to have the same mindset. However, in order for you to grow, you need to actually have somebody on your team, because you know what? Guess what? There are only 24 hours in a day, and we all get the same amount of time in a day, 24 hours. We don't get more, we don't get less. Doesn't matter whether you're a billionaire or you're just starting out in a business. It's only 24 hours for everybody. So think how you use it wisely and have great systems in place so that the time you have is spent wisely and delegated properly, so your business runs like a well-oiled machine.
All right. And I know you guys have a promo here, so I wanted to touch on that really quick. It's a $1 setup fee promo for Virtudesk.
If you are thinking of signing up for Virtudesk, we have a $1 only setup fee. Usually it's $450 setup fee. Today we have a $1. If you contact us at myvirtudesk.com, or just go to Virtudesk and put on Google Virtudesk, and schedule a demo call with one of our representatives, and we'll get you going.
Cool, buddy. All right. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for being on. Good first session. Now I'm going to go over to Janki and Kevin. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Pablo, you feel free to stay in, man, if you want. You want to ask them any questions or do whatever you want. You're invited. All right. Kevin Markaraian from California, covers Northern and Southern California. Well, specifically San Francisco and part of like Orange County, right?
Yeah.
All right.
South Orange counties, Southern California.
Perfect. He's got a massive team / brokerage, is a longtime friend of mine, Kevin Markaraian. And then Janki Patel covers, I always say the Silicon Valley, but
the Bay Area.
Bay Area.
Yes, I'm actually right at the corner of Kevin too. He's in San Francisco, and I'm more like in the Bay, the East Bay, South Bay, that area.
You know what's funny? I just realized that between all of us, we cover all of California.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was just about to say that, because he does South and North. You do right there in the Malibu area.
Right in the middle. Yeah.
Right in the middle. And I'm right on the other side, in the middle of Kevin and you actually too. So yes, that's where I'm at.
I love it. Well, thank you both for being on. Let's talk about creating a sales team overseas and also in-house, because I think we've all done that pretty well. I'm going to start with Kevin. Kevin, you have a good mixed team, man. I know if we go back like 4 years ago, you and I, well, even longer, but you and I have shared a few of these virtual staff members, both in the US and outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I know one of them was Sandra, right? We've shared before in the past, out of the Philippines. And then we also shared Alex
as well. And I was working with Joe Bell way back.
Oh, dude, I remember that.
Yeah. So actually my first hire, I think maybe my first hire was a virtual assistant dialer. And looking back, we all make lots of mistakes, but looking back, I would have done this exercise that I think everybody should do if you're thinking about hiring someone. It's very simple. I've said it many, many times. It's just tracking all of your activities during the day. So like take like a notepad or your phone, and then every hour, write out everything that you do. And before you know it, you're going to realize you waste a lot of time. You're not very efficient. I'm not a very efficient person. Maybe you are, but and then you start to realize, okay, these are all the tasks that I don't like to do, that I shouldn't be doing, that somebody else can do, that I'm wasting dollars, wasting time. Like Pavel said, you only have certain time during the day. So what do I want to be focusing my time on? The most impactful things that are going to make the biggest impact on my business, or whatever I want to do. Maybe I want to be in the corner of my business doing something else, and I want someone else to make the impact. You can do whatever you want, but you one thing you do want to see is you want visibility. So like these are all the businesses I'm working on, right? I have it all written out, and I wrote out today before coming on. We have 11 different companies that we're working on. And in order for that to happen, you have to have visibility. You have to know where you're at, what you're doing, what your role is. You can't do everything on your own. So whether, understand, are you a W-2, are you just an independent contractor, or are you an entrepreneur? Are you a business owner? So it's really about understanding, first and foremost, what are the things that I'm doing every day that I either should be doing or shouldn't be doing. And one way to do that is to simply write out every hour, everything that you do. And before you know it, within even a day, but try to do it for like a week, and you'll start to see the things that, again, you should be doing, shouldn't be doing, but you can create a job description just off of the things on your list. So that's what, like, I didn't do, but I should have done, and I will do like I do now moving forward. But if anybody watching, you want to do it like in a simple way, this is one way to do that. And it's helped. It'll help a lot. And so that's like kind of like first step towards a new hire.
All right. Well, I'm going to come back to you because I want to go through the process of you creating your latest business, which you know which one it is. I'll come back to you on that.
Okay.
All right, Janki.
I want to know what.
Oh yeah, you'll get it. He's gonna. I want him to go through the process because he kind of like, Tristan, I hit on something pretty awesome. I'm like, what is it? So I'll take.
Wait, hold on. Does it start with an H?
It starts with inspection.
Okay.
Well, maybe it starts
with an H. It starts with an H.
It's a handyman. Yeah, handyman.
You just have a bad memory. That's
thank you. It's a handyman. Handyman.
Oh,
I can't spell. Kevin, I can't spell. All right, Janki. So, Janki, you are also using a good virtual team, and
I am.
It's a mix because I know your husband is part of your team, your daughter is part of your team, right? Yes. And then you're also using a virtual staff outside of the Philippines. So, can you tell me where you started on the creation part of that? Because I think that's where a lot of people can't visualize that beginning.
Yeah. So basically, when we started seeing a lead influx of leads coming in, online leads coming in, and I couldn't keep up, that's when we decided, okay, it's time to hire someone to make these calls out. And now you have to think about whether you want to hire someone in-house or whether you want to hire someone outsourcing, right? Which was financially beneficial to us and which was more of strategic for us, right? And at that time, our director of operations is my husband, Hiran. He oversees everything, everyone, including me. Accountability. Oh, be careful. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically it. And then we started first hiring our first ISA. And then what I did was I just left him alone, which was a big mistake, right? And that's where I realized, wait a minute, you need to be completely involved in this because this is your business at the end of the day. However, you got to make them realize that it is their business as well because it's a team effort, right? So we went and we hired our first ISA. And what I did is I started doing role plays with them, did affirmations, all of that good stuff. And we continued for almost a year. I would say 8 to 9 months. And then we started to see an influx of other positions. I was doing, like Kevin said, I was working 12, 13, 14-hour days. I was waking up in the middle of the night, which I still do, but at 2 and 3 in the morning, I'm working and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And I realized that's when that aha light bulb went off. And I realized that I need more help than I actually think I do. And that's when I started to dive into an executive assistant because my ISA couldn't even keep up with the lead flow, by the way. Our leads were he wasn't able to make all the calls. And that's where we saw the gap happening between me and him, dialing conversions. So there's strategies, right? Lead generation, lead follow-up, conversions, right? And you have to continue with the lead follow-up because, and then of course your past clients, what happens to that? That's a database in itself. So
I like that. Well, I think Janki, one thing that you're really putting out there so people can see is that sometimes you don't know what you need until you start it, right? And I think Kevin and I can really relate with that because both Kevin and I were trying out Realtor.com a while back, and we're like, we're all in. So we threw thousands of dollars a month, and we didn't know what kind of chaos that would create in our businesses.
Yeah.
You're talking about Realtor.com. I threw $6,000 a month on Zillow.
Multiply. I don't want to talk about how much we were spending.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty, Janki. I mean, at some point we were both spending over $50,000 a month on these. But look, it did create a lot of opportunities, but it also created chaos so that we can try to fix it. And I think that's where agents miss an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So Kevin, can you talk on that chaos? Because you're recreating it with the handyman business.
I am. And with chaos, really, it's really about experience. Like an inexperience leads you to chaos, right? So it's like if I've had these problems in the past, like you're saying, Realtor.com, nothing against Realtor.com, just as an example company that we use, we just kind of, there's like signs that you're winging your business, right? You don't want to wing your business. You want to make sure that you're doing everything in a structured way. So one of the things that I put in place is a process for everything that I do. So like you said, we have about 11 businesses. Each one has a foundation, which is the same for all of them. But then, they're all unique in their own way, but you have that similar foundation for everything, right? And once you do it, and we leverage virtual assistants for all the businesses. And it's really important to create a process for everything that you do. And is it okay if I share my screen?
Do it, man.
So I want to share my screen with everyone. One of the things that we did for one of the companies is our main company is Marker Real Estate. I want to get into the handyman thing, but we create a process for everything that we do. So every step, everything, if you want to build a business, a real business, you have to be able to build something that if you step away today, or you, God forbid, die today, a third grader can come in and pick up right where you left off because you're all of the things that you've done is very processed, very organized. And it's not all up here.
We were talking about third graders right before you came in. I'm like, even my son can follow this thing and he's in third grade. So that's funny that you say that.
So with our company, we have like a step-by-step guide. These are called standards of operation, SOP, standard of operation. So you want to have a standard of operation for every aspect of your business. So this is just like an easy one. Well, I want to find one that's got like a multiple step process, but basically like just name it. So you kind of go along your day. What we do is like, I go along my day with my day. If I find something that I run across that needs, like I might need a process for this. Like somebody can benefit. They're not going to be able to pick up. If I leave today, they're not going to be able to pick it up and just carry on. So let me create a process for it. Right. So everything we do has a process, like on here, how agents get paid. This is like for the brokerage, right? So if an agent asks a question, how do they get paid? Here's what they do. And it gives them a process on everything. And we have that for our internal, like our admin. So we have an internal process set up and we have an external process set up. But every business has standard operating procedures. And before we end, I'd like to go into a few steps on how you can tell whether you're winging your business and how you can tell if you're an actual business owner. And it's all because I'm like the greatest winger of all time. Tristan knows. I pretty much wing everything, but I have to put myself in check, hold myself accountable. Like I said, her husband holds her accountable. I need to hold myself accountable. Somebody else holds me accountable so that I don't wing it because I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. It's very important to know your strengths and weaknesses. Right. And it's okay. It's okay.
I totally agree with you, Kevin. I have not only my husband, but my daughter, who's the lead buyer's agent on our team. She holds me highly accountable for the leads, for the listing side of our business. And then I have my executive assistant. So it's like, you can't run away. I mean, you've got all these people holding you accountable. And the worst part about all this is my son, who, you know, he's a foreign exchange trader. And oh my God, he's a high D. Oh, you don't even want to, like, coffee time in the morning. You have 15 minutes. Tell me about your day. Tell me what you're going to accomplish today. Tell me your goals. And what are you going to do about it, mother? And I'm like, oh, hey, son, how you doing today? He's only what, 22? You know, so I have these business entrepreneur mindset people, my core family right there, and we all hold each other. But one thing I want to touch base on, like you said, Kevin, the standards of operation, right? The standard procedures. We have something called the Janki Patel team manual. And that's where we put everything down, right? The team manual. And I haven't touched it for a couple of months now, but that reminds me, I took notes of it. I'm like, oh, I got to get back there. It is so important. Like you said, if you're not there, someone should be easily able to pick up that, whether it's someone that is dear to you, one of your admins, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're hiring VAs from different parts of the world, you know, sometimes there's a cultural gap, there's this, whatever. But a lot of the people that we're hiring are like super intelligent, super smart, and you just have to communicate. So my thing is, I don't have the time, quite frankly, to sit there and train a person every single time. It's not scalable. Number one, you're not going to be able to grow. So let me take that upfront time, put it in play, like spend the time to build these processes so that anybody can just look at and learn and know. And so one of the things that we're working on right now, Tristan, for every one of these processes, we're going to do a video. Right. So on each one of these, there's going to be a video as well. So it just makes it a little bit easier. But which one you want me to get into, Tristan, the handyman thing or the,
you know what,
10 steps on?
Let's touch on the handyman thing, because I know Alexa also wants to do it. Alexa, stop. Alexa chose handyman services. So Kevin, go right ahead.
All right. So like, you know, we do a lot of online lead generation. I mean, we're generating right now about 80 leads an hour. And like I said before, everything is like you want to create a foundation that you can use all the time in all the different businesses, right? So if I can generate 80 leads an hour for Marker Real Estate, I can generate 80 leads an hour for any business, because it's the same foundation, the same process almost, right? So like Tristan said, we're spending like $60,000 a month on Realtor.com and other lead sources. So I got to thinking like, how can I create a way to not only generate leads and not have to pay the money to generate leads, but also get paid to generate leads. So this is what we did. I had somebody kind of like organically happened, had a person that would come. We just moved to Southern California from SF. I had a handyman that I would bring over and fix stuff. I'm not.
Wait, you moved from California to California?
I actually did not move to Austin, Texas, by the way.
You didn't move to outside of California? What's going on?
You stay local.
I'm just teasing. Go.
So we moved to Southern California, and I'm like bolts and wrenches. It's not my thing, right? So we end up hiring a handyman to come and fix stuff. And anyway, he's like wasn't doing very well. I think ended up like kind of homeless, whatever. But he was a cool guy. So I just thought, let me help this guy out and let me get him some jobs. Let me just, instead of like I ended up like paying for his storage and stuff. I just felt bad. So I'm like, instead of me paying for his stuff, let me go get him some work. I know how to lead generate. So I created a little logo. I created some ads, started posting ads in different places for handyman. And I told him, if, basically like he gets 80%, we get 20% of anything that he generates or anything that we send him. And if he gets me a listing, he gets $500. So this was like maybe 4 months ago or something. I mean, I think we've had like 7 listings since then. He's made like $3,500 just off of that, plus all the jobs that he's had. So we make 20% on each job.
Talk about the processes you put in place though, because that's where the magic happens, because now you have a team or a person or two posting up the ads, taking the calls and funneling that so that you stepped out of it, right? So let's talk about that.
the same exact process, like I was saying earlier. It's the foundation. It doesn't matter whether it's real estate, whether it's electrical companies, whether it's any service provider, right? So this happens to be handyman. So we just we create the ad. I put it on whatever lead source. There's plenty of lead sources, Google, Facebook, whatever. And then we have a logo. We put the ads out. Leads come in. Our ISA answers. Say it's a VA. They answer. Take the questions, whatever. Pre-screening questions, just like you're pre-screening for a lead, a client, you're pre-screening for a person who wants to get their toilet fixed, right? Mm-hmm. But we ask them in there, part of the script is, hey, do you have a home? What's the reason that you're, you need help? Are you thinking about selling? So this is part of it, right? So person who usually wants to fix up their house, the percentage of those people want to sell. So that's part of the questioning. And if they say yes, great, whatever, we know, and we're going to talk about that later, but we take it in. We have a system. We use everything inside of Messenger. So we have like a centralized communication where our handyman's there, our inside salesperson's there, I'm there, our manager's there. And then we kind of like go through that process like you would with setting an appointment for a listing appointment or a buyer appointment. We send the handyman out, we take the payment, and it's all done the same exact way that you would handle a lead from realtor.com or from Facebook, whatever. Exactly the same. The difference is we don't make 25 grand on each deal. We make like a smaller amount, but we're generating leads. So now I'm generating leads and I'm making $1,000 a week off of each handyman, and I'm getting leads and I'm getting listings, and he's happy. He's not homeless anymore. He's getting money in his pocket, and we're giving out leads. We're getting listings. So it's like a beautiful thing. What can I say?
So Kevin, something very similar I do. Okay. We didn't create the business side out of it, which is a brilliant idea. But what we do is on our flips, we do something like that with our contractor, where we, if there's a huge project, we send him to that project. But when he sends that estimate out, then we gave him that lead. So we get certain, we do splits with him. Because we generated that lead for him. We introduced him to that business, to that particular client, right? So my daughter does that. She's a flipper, and she does a lot of that with him. And that is a brilliant idea, but I like the detail that you went into, which we don't do that. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can do this with anything, right? But if it's okay. Maybe you don't want to do it. It's all right, right? I just want to be an agent. Let's say I just want to be an agent. If you want to grow, even as an individual agent, you need to have systems in place, or otherwise you're just winging it. You're just winging it, and it's never gonna be that up and down roller coaster that agents deal with, that I dealt with for 20 years. You're never going to avoid that. You're never going to get away from that unless you have a process in place. So what we've done is, since our processes are pretty good, like I've been able to take those processes and bring them into other businesses. Tristan, I want to go into real quick about 5 steps or 5 signs that you are winging your business. Can I just go into those real quick and then I'll stop?
Do it.
Okay, so first of all, here's how you know whether you're winging your business or if you're actual business owner, whether you're just the 1099 contractor employee or your actual entrepreneur or business owner. Number 1 is tracking your business. Where are my deals coming from? Where are my lead sources coming from? By the way, everything I'm saying, I've been guilty of. So I'm not like sitting here from a pedestal, and everything I'm saying, a VA can do. So a VA can help you track. So tracking your business, tracking your deals, where they're coming from. Second is having a predictable schedule, consistency, predictability. I know others can rely on me showing up.
Yeah.
Right. Third is not having standards of operation. So having those standards of operations in place. And then this one's also very important, is lacking urgency. So here's something where a lot of successful people get in trouble. We've reached a certain level. Tristan, bro, you probably never have to really truly actually have to work. You're in a position.
He stays at home and he runs the businesses. That's what he does.
Yes, right? But there's like a two-edged sword with that. Yeah. It becomes like a guilt. It's like a curse and a blessing because you get lazy. It's very easy to get lazy. So lacking urgency and creating that sense of urgency for us every day is very important. And why? How do I do that? I surround myself with people like Tristan, like Janki, like if I can get around Tom Ferry, if I can get around my friend Sam, Sunny, all of our people, all of our good people, right? So urgency is a very important piece. And those are like the 5 things. So yeah, that's it.
You know what, on that, one thing that we don't often talk enough about is this urgency. And I think it can, if you want to continually grow and continually push to new levels of growth, you always have to have this sense of urgency, and it can never, ever be quenched. And you have to be okay with it, right? It's not like you don't have enough right now. That's not the feeling. It's just like, all 3 of us are pretty content where we're at, but there's an urgency that's eating up inside of us, like saying you're not doing enough, right? And that's what continually pushes us. This is why we can't stay put, right? And Kevin has 11 businesses. He's probably going to have like 30 by the end of the year. So that's normal.
Right. That is very normal. The more streams of income you have, the better leverage you get. And, you know, again, going back to what Kevin says, foundation, what I learned really quickly 2 years ago was systems, technology, tools, leverage. If we don't have this as leaders, if we don't have this as entrepreneurs, and we're doing 10 things a minute, like this has to get done. We have no focus. We can't focus on our family. We can't focus on any. That was me a couple of months ago. In fact, that was me a year ago. And now I'm twiddling my thumbs, sitting at home, going to the beach on a weekend. Like I'm going on beach trips. I'm like, wait, what? There's something wrong here. For a second there, I was depressed. I'm like, I'm not out there working. I'm not out there showing properties. What's going on here, right? Again, it's the systems, the tools, the leverage, and the technology that we built out as team leaders. And that's what and Tristan and Kevin, I think we're never satisfied because we always want to learn. We always want to grow. We always want to educate others in the process because we get educated, right?
That's very true.
Go together.
Yeah. And I think it's important just to kind of know what you want so that it's okay. Like you get to a point, I reached my goal, I'm good. Like, I don't know. I just think for me, it's like I want to continue to grow. Otherwise, I get bored. So, and we've definitely benefited by using virtual assistants in our business. It's a great way to leverage. It's a great way to like build and do it cost effectively.
Yeah.
So
we just hired our social media manager yesterday or last week, and he started yesterday. The onboarding team sat with him for 1 hour. While I was having tea time, right, in the afternoon with my hubby. Can you believe this, guys? I mean, the next thing I know, there's a content calendar out. I mean, just bam, bam, bam. And I'm just going, wow, this is amazing, right? What it gave me, it was the leverage to be with who I love the most and who I want to be a part of. Again, it's called leveraging. I bring family back up because it is so important, because that is what you live for. That is what you work hard for, right? At the end of the day, that's us.
And you know, it's also important to be willing to let go, because a lot of us, when we reach a point as by ourselves, I get somewhere. I get to a pinnacle that I've reached by myself.
Yes.
And Tristan's smiling. It's hard to let go.
It is.
Right? Nobody can do it as good as we can. And maybe but then you just have to kind of self-assess, like, okay, think of the most successful companies out there. Do you think they've done it on their own? No, they've had to be willing to let go and let others, trust others to do it for them. And then it becomes a matter of, you're going to be able to scale, but it's difficult. That's like that first jump is the letting go part. But you can trust, like in a company like Virtudesk, because they have those structures in place that they're going to put you with people that are capable of doing the things that you need them to do. And it's important to know what you want them to do. And that's why writing those things out, like I said earlier, every hour I write out everything that I do, and then I take out the things that I don't want to do. And you know what? I don't care really that much if somebody messes that up.
Exactly.
So that's like the key. And then before you know it, you're not doing anything anymore. You're just putting everything out for others to do. And that's, then allows you to do other things like starting other businesses and so on. So
here's the last thing I want to say, Kevin, is I totally agree with you on that. Going back to leveraging with Virtudesk, right? Going back, I I'm a control freak. I want to do everything. And I could not even let go of business to my husband. That's how I was. You know, I wouldn't even let him breathe. I was choking him to get this done, to get this done. You know, I was on like just constantly, you know, control freak. Now, all of a sudden, I've got this amazing executive assistant, an amazing office manager who said, relax, take a deep breath, step back, because we got this. And it was really amazing to see how, you know, they really have this amazing, you know, team of assistants, of VAs that just do a fabulous job. So I love it.
True. Very true. All right. Look, that puts us at the top of the hour. Kevin, anything you want to add? No?
Nope. You guys, thank you for the opportunity. It's always fun. You can, if anyone wants to reach out to me, you can find me on social media. We're growing our business. We're looking for partners across the country. If you're looking to grow your company, we'll have to talk, Janki.
Yes, you got it, Kevin.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a great pleasure. Thank you.